Hello and welcome to another episode of Protip Conversations. My name is Anish, and as always, I'm here with my partner in crime, Chris. Today we have an exciting opportunity to speak with Titus Channer. Titus is the founder and head coach of New Horizon Basketball in the Greater Toronto Area. Titus attended McMaster University in Canada, where he made his mark as the school's all-time leading scorer and was inducted to the McMaster Hall of Fame. He played professional basketball in Europe for 7 years. He would go on to become a member of the Canadian men's national basketball team, winning a silver medal at the World University Games and playing as the starting point guard for the 2002 World Championships alongside NBA Hall of Famer Steve Nash. After his professional career, Titus formed New Horizon Basketball, aimed at inspiring young players in helping them achieve their dreams. So today we'll speak with Titus about his journey and as a player and then as a coach. Welcome Titus to Protip.
Thanks for having me, man. You got all the points down. I'm good.
Yeah, I did the research. I scoured your website.
Good scouting.
Yeah. So I guess we'll jump right into it. What got you started in basketball?
You know what? It was I was in a lot of different sports, right? Growing up, I played soccer was my main sport, but I kind of gravitated to basketball, because all our friends played, and then just I kind of got away from the soccer playing rep into basketball, and that was since grade school and high school, and then I kind of went on from there.
Cool. And I guess when you were playing all those different sports, you were playing at a competitive level in soccer?
Yeah, I was playing high level rep. I had scholarship offers.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Even in soccer. But basketball was kind of my heart. My heart was at basketball, and I wanted to improve and get better. And that's why I kind of chose it.
Cool. And I guess in your when you were growing up, who was your sporting hero?
My guy was Magic Johnson.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah, I remember having a poster of him on my my wall. I used to live in LA, right, when I was really young.
Okay.
So even my dad, he loved Magic, so he was my guy growing up. I even had his number 32 high school, all through high school because of Magic Johnson. So he was my guy.
Nice.
Growing up.
Nice. And then I guess tell me a little bit about that. So you grew up in LA, and then did you move to Canada at a certain point? And
yeah. So my background. So I'm half Aboriginal, Indigenous, right, and half Black. So I'm originally from northern Quebec.
Okay.
Where my native family's from, right? So we moved to LA with my mom and I when I was really young, 5, and then met my dad. Now when I was 6 or 7, and then we moved from there to Hamilton.
Okay.
Right. So moved to Hamilton, and then that's where I went to high school in Hamilton. Went to Mac.
Right.
Master. I had offers to go to the States. I went down a couple of visits to Eastern Michigan, to Virginia, but I decided to stay home. It was a tough decision at the time.
Mm-hmm.
People were saying go, people saying stay.
Yeah.
But no regrets. I met so many people, the contacts I have, connections, right, lifelong. So I have no regrets that I stayed at Mac to play.
That's awesome. And I guess you kind of touched upon it, but how has basketball impacted your life overall?
Well, it just it took me all over the world. I've traveled, played all over the world, played in England, Switzerland, France, Austria, Italy, playing with the national team. We went to, even with Mac, I went to South America, right, Ecuador. So from those experiences, it kind of shaped me, the person who I am, right, and keeping those contacts, connections, right, that's key, I think. I'm still connected with a lot of people I played overseas with to this day. You have that bond, that for life. It doesn't matter if I haven't seen my buddies from the team for 5 years. We get together. It's that friendship, right? That you always have, no matter as you get older.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Awesome. And I was curious about, so you run New Horizon Basketball.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a bit about that and your kind of vision behind it?
Yeah, so I started New Horizon Basketball 10 years ago in Markham. right? I've always been doing basketball camps. I was with another company called Rising Stars for a bit.
Yeah.
I was running camps, in high school, at university, summer camps, even overseas. I was running camps for the club I was with, right? So I always wanted to start my own thing. So I started 10 years ago in Markham. And then from that, I moved out to Brooklyn about
Mhm.
6, 7 years ago.
Mhm.
And I found there's no basketball in the Brooklyn area, right? So I started in Brooklyn, now expanded throughout Whitby. But my goal was to be recognized as a high caliber developmental program, training youth in the community, right? To just installing core values on the court and off, right? Just developing them, the entire athlete, right? So that's very important. That's my passion, development, right?
Yeah.
I had some great coaches. We'll get into that later, but who worked on just focusing on developing, getting better mentally, physically, right? So in my programs, and that's what it all comes down to is to get better. Like, how are you going to improve? That's
Yeah.
key to what we believe in.
How does your program run, or what does that look like for a kid who comes along and joins up with you guys?
Yes, so we have different programs. We have
Okay.
like the Skills Academy program,
Yeah.
usually like 10 sessions. House League is more game orientated, you're part of a team, and a
Yeah.
rep, right?
Okay.
Rep team, right? So a different age group for rep teams. So my age group is from 5 years old to about 15, but we split them according to age and ability, right? So in the proper groups based on their skill level.
Yeah.
So in this every week they're kind of learning something new,
Nice.
right? And our main goal, what we kind of talk with all the coaches about, that's great you're practicing here, but what are you doing outside of the gym? Right? Are you practicing at home, at
Right.
school, right? So our main goal is trying to just get them better. Not every player is going to play rep or play professionally.
Yeah.
They want to have fun and learn, right?
Yeah.
So we get that, right? So we cater to all age groups and all levels. Yeah.
I'll add a quick point of clarification for the U.S. listeners. The Brooklyn Titus mentioned
Yeah.
is in the Toronto area. There's a suburb called Brooklyn,
Yeah.
not the Brooklyn in New York, because I'm sure there's lots of basketball camps in Brooklyn, New York, right? So
Yeah.
Maybe a
That's
few.
funny. I got a call. Are you in Brooklyn? Like New York? No. I'm in Brooklyn, Whitby. Where?
right.
So you've got a bunch of coaches that work with you at Horizon, and I'm sure
Yeah.
you've worked with a ton of coaches over your career. I'm just kind of curious what you think makes like a really great coach.
I think they're passionate what they do.
Uh-huh.
They care about the kids,
Yeah.
right? I've known a lot of programs. There's some good ones, some bad ones,
Of course.
right?
Yeah.
And to be honest, some programs it's more of a money grab, right?
Right.
They don't really care about developing kids.
It's a business.
And
Yeah.
the coaches I have, they played high level. A lot of them play pro, played university, right? And they know what it takes to help them get to the level any kid wants to get to, right? Whether it's just playing for your school team, right? Or just working on your dribbling, your shooting, right? So each coach I have cares about developing each of these players. Just help them basically comes down to become more confident.
Yeah.
Right? That's key.
And
Confidence.
for you, who've been your biggest coaching influences?
I had some great coaches throughout my career. My high school coach, Al Bullock, my university coach, Bill Razzo, and even my Canadian national team coach, the Olympic coach, Jay Triano.
Okay.
Right? I think he's with Sacramento now, right? Assistant coach, yeah. So those coaches I look to them because I've been lucky. Like they kind of installed that work ethic, what it takes to get to the next level,
Yeah.
right? Working on your skill, constantly getting better, right? So I've been lucky that I had that mentorship as I got older.
So yeah, it sounds like they sort of that experience with those coaches may have shaped a bit of your sort of coaching philosophy and what you bring forward as a coach now.
Yeah, a couple things that what I remember my university coach would say. He goes, "There's always somebody out there working harder than you." Right?
Yeah.
What are you going to do to get to that level?
Yeah.
I remember going overseas, like for example, they bring me in, and there's like 3 other American point guards I got to go against. You're killing each other in practice for one spot, right?
Yeah.
And so I beat them out, but still, overseas you're only allowed 2 foreigners, imports, right?
Oh, okay.
For basketball, anyways, at the time. So myself, maybe like a 6'11" guy from the States, my last cup NBA team, trying to go back. So a lot of pressure on you to perform, because if you don't, if you lose, say for 2 games, didn't have a bad game, he makes sure you go off for 30 points and win, or you're out because it's not guaranteed, right?
Yeah.
So another thing too, he said, in the stands, somebody's watching you for the first time. So what kind of player are you going to show them that you are, right? Are you somebody that is a hard worker, a rebounder, defender, right? Because that person could actually be your employer, right? Like you never know. Like I so many situations where guys who I know played on my team, and the people who are watching, right, we call it the courtside club, or they're watching the games. Now they're their boss because they've seen how they are. You see a lot of athletes getting hired because of their work ethic, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I've been taught, so I've seen that happen. So that's something that really stuck to me to now.
Do you have like some piece of advice you received from a coach that stuck with you over the time? I mean, it seems he spoke that a little bit.
Yeah. Yes. Also, it's key to get your body right,
Okay.
and that's not working. Like I could tell you, we'll tell more about like my workout routine back then, but it's like being the best, one in shape at practice or tryouts.
Right.
Being like that's what you said. Like, what are you doing every day to be that person, right? So that's every day I work on my game, my body, whatever, but not just physically, but mentally, right? I had a great coach at that time in high school. In grade 9, he was really into like visualization, right? Like we would sit before a game, just close our eyes, and you kind of go through the plays right before we play. And I never no one really did that back then, but he was really into that, and that helped me, right? Just visualize before I play. I have my little space, 10 minutes by myself, and just kind of focus on what I got to do.
Okay. See yourself succeed before it actually happens, right?
Yeah.
It's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So you talked a lot about what makes a successful coach, but I'm sort of curious what you think makes successful students.
Listen, be able to listen, be able to take, listening is key, right? Not really having a huge attitude. Because listen, I've seen a lot of great players with great ability, but a coach sees his attitude, how he carries himself, not just on the court, but off the court, in a timeout, right? Or he gets subbed off, right? Because the thing about coaches, like, they know who you are to come to see you. They want to see how you act outside the court, like when you get timeout or coming off the bench, right? They want to see your attitude, right? So that's one thing is that you got to be humble, right? No matter how good you are, it's good to be humble, right? Patience, right? That's key. That's something that as a student you got to learn that, right? It takes time. Some are like little hotheads, right? You see that. Never be able to control emotions.
You've got young folks too, right? So I'm sure a lot of developing minds.
Yeah, developing minds, and they have attitudes. So you got to learn too, because as a coach, you deal with all types of attitudes, right?
Yeah.
Different backgrounds, different nationalities, right? We understand that. So as a coach, being patient too, right? As a student too, being able to take advice, criticism, right, which is constructive, right? As a so it comes down to that.
That's awesome. I guess switching gears a little bit to your days, playing. What did your training look like when you were preparing to compete in season versus off season?
Yeah, off season. So every day was the same routine. I had a routine. Wake up, 8:00, run for about an hour and a half, long distance running, right? Come back home, rest for a bit, go to the gym, weight room, for an hour and a half. From that, I'll go to the track. So I had a track coach.
Okay.
He'll work with me on the track, working on my speed, short bursts, 100 meter, 50 meter. Because basketball is about sprints, right? About getting to the spot. So not just for my cardio, but also for my quickness, right? Different movement. And then that's afternoon and evening time, doing drills, right? Working on my skill, and then my play later on after that. So that was my schedule. So I had a routine every single day throughout during the off season, right? Wow. So my main thing was to get ready for the season, for tryouts, right? Be the best shape I can, mentally know that I'm ready, right? Because you in a way, like you never think you're ready, right? You are, you think you're ready, but until you actually go on the court and see where you're at, right? But so then you're always improving. You always want to improve, right? As an athlete, especially a pro athlete. And so during the season, yeah, we work out. You know, we have different set schedules to work out every day. Not as heavy, right? Even playing pro was the same thing. You know, we had to workout schedule. Our job was, film sessions. So it was constantly, all around basketball. Right, that's what it takes.
So I guess off season, was there a lot of guidance from the team that you were playing with in order, in terms of what sort of program that you should be working on, or was that kind of more individual? You just had to, work with your own coaches and get yourself ready.
Oh yeah. In the university, yeah, we had a strength coach. So kind of work with us, gave us a workout plan, right? Even some of the coaches too would come to the gym, work on us one-on-one, right? Different skills. We had that support, right? At that level, especially university level. Yeah. Even overseas too, same thing, right? You wake up, you got to shoot around with the team in the morning, workout, film session, individual stuff you have with the one of the assistant coaches. So that we had that support as you got to the higher levels.
And then how did you, I guess, find the balance between, not training enough and then overtraining? Or do you even, believe that you can overtrain and kind of burn yourself out that way?
At that time, no, I never. For me,
it's just go all the time.
I just had I had the endurance, and I was like,
yeah,
I'll get tired. My muscles be sore, but you know what? I just didn't affect me, right? It didn't affect me. It might affect some people, but for me, I never really thought of that overtraining or I need some rest. I take a day rest, but right back at it every day and the same routine. I became accustomed with that, right? That was my life, right? And I enjoyed it. Some people probably couldn't, but I enjoyed it.
Do you think that consistency made it easier to kind of maintain and keep up with it?
Yeah, because I can measure myself, right?
Oh, yeah.
I can measure where I am, where I want to be, if I'm not, knocking down so many shots in a day, if I'm not making, right? If I'm shooting, let's say 100, 200 shots, a day, whatever, and how much am I making? All right. So I keep track. We kept track of like what you shot. That was it. So even how many free throws. We had to make 100 free throws every single day. So you had to find time in the schedule in university, get in the gym, shoot 100 free throws, make 100 free throws, and keep track of that. Is on a list, right? Yeah. Stuff like that, right? So for me, I was accustomed to it, and I enjoyed it.
Yeah. And I guess zeroing in on game day, what was your pregame routine like?
So for me, get up, have a good breakfast. Usually we'll play either in the afternoon or evening time, right? So I started university, right? Mm-hmm. Just get up, good breakfast, just kind of just go in my mind, right? Just kind of like focus on the game, right? Just think about what we have to do, who we're playing. We have scouting reports, right? Go over who I'm going to guard, right? My main thing is being prepared. Mm-hmm. Even like before we play a team, like I was in the film room watching another team play. Or back then we would take VHS tapes, right? Take tapes home to watch the other team because I want to see who I'm guarding. I want to see what he does, right?
Tendencies,
how can I stop that, right? So that was my main thing, is to kind of like lock him down when we played them, get myself ready. And even before the game, like, have my music on, I was listening to, like, for me, it's more like, hip hop, some fast, get myself pumped up. But I would go to like 15 minutes by myself in the hallway, just like listen to my music, put my shoes on, stretching by myself before usually like the girls play before us. And then university was the same thing. I carry that to playing pro, right? Just get myself ready mentally before the game, 15 minutes before, just by myself, just thinking what I got to do, and it helped me.
Yeah, nice. And did you get any butterflies either before or during the
Yeah,
game?
yeah, you get butterflies before any game, a big game, but just repetition, right? Once you're
Hmm.
out there, they go away, right?
Was
Like,
it
because
was I guess part of the routine was to make sure that you covered all your bases so that
yeah,
you can control that.
you
Yeah.
can block it out because overseas, they're fanatics, like soccer, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
They're nuts down there. So
Yeah.
you might 100 people, but it seems like 10,000 people. So they got their chants, the flags,
Yeah.
fire in the stands. Like it's crazy.
Yeah.
I played it.
Clubs
Yeah.
clubs mean a lot down there, right? When
Oh yeah.
it's like it's a whole the loyalty thing is pretty huge when it
Uh,
comes to
no,
different clubs.
when I got there, they knew all about me.
Yeah.
Where, walk around the city, they know me. Like it's a good experience. And I tell guys if you get a chance, to play pro, just get down there, right? Experience it. Experience that life. You're young. Why not try it?
Yeah. Yeah. I guess what was the toughest aspect of being a professional athlete?
I think what I found a lot of people being away from home, homesick.
Hmm.
Because you're going to, like, for example, I would go not knowing who's on my team, not meeting my coach. I meet my coach for the first time at the airport. Have 2 suitcases. That's all I have. Not knowing where I'm staying,
Oh, wow.
not knowing the culture, right? But for me, I liked it. I love it. I love going to a place, you know, just driving around. Like they give us a car and a condo down there. Driving around, not knowing where I'm going, meeting people, right?
Nice.
That's me, right? I'm very social that way.
Yeah.
But some guys, a lot of the Americans that I met, they hated it. They
Mhm.
couldn't stand because different food, you know, things are a different time. You can't get stuff right away, right? You can't
Yep.
like
And this is early 2000s, right?
yeah, it's early two.
So it's not like you can just jump on a video call with your family or whatever either. It's like, yeah,
Call me at a certain time because it's 6 hours.
exactly.
Time zone. Yeah, right.
Yeah, so a lot of things were it was tough. Like get into my condo. I didn't have my TV wasn't ready. Stuff wasn't ready, so you gotta wait. Like stuff like that. Like even not getting paid on time.
Oh, wow.
That's like I've a lot of guys who I know never got paid sometimes for like 3 months,
Oh, wow.
and like I got lucky. Like I had some good teams. They paid me on time. A lot of stuff happened that I know about. But yeah,
And I guess, what advice would you give to someone trying to make a career in basketball?
yeah.
Everyone, especially in North America, everyone thinks it's NBA or bust, right? Like
Oh,
it's almost like a lot of kids have that mindset where, they think that that's the only path to a professional basketball career. But I mean, obviously, you're an example of someone who's done it in different places. So yeah,
yeah.
if you could speak to that.
Well, for sure. Right now there's so much opportunity than when I played. Right, you have prep schools here in Canada you can go to. Right, more schools in the states. AAU schools go in the states. Different pro leagues. Right, in
Hmm.
America, even overseas. So I tell guys like, yeah, that's great. Make the NBA is tough, right? That could be your goal, but it's not all about making the NBA. There's other leagues you can go to. Like, yeah, my goal was to make the NBA. I tried. I went down to the LA Pro Summer Leagues, right? Played in those leagues against all the NBA teams, right? It is the first, second year guy,
Hmm.
Las Vegas Summer Leagues, all that. I
Hmm.
went down there, I did well. No one picked me up, so I went overseas, right? That was my career, and I have no regrets. Traveling the world was great, right? And
Amazing.
getting played to play,
Yeah.
getting played to play the game you love still. And you see a lot of guys, in the NBA going overseas to China because they still want to play. They still love the game, right?
Yeah.
So I tell guys first, obviously, it comes down to what are you going to do to make yourself better, right? How are you going to stand out? There's so many players out there, right? These days, so many players out there. So what are you going to do to make yourself better, get to the level you want to get to, and improve every day, right?
I have two more questions in this competition section.
Yeah.
The first one is, so you obviously played, university basketball in Canada and in the pro leagues. Did you notice anything about the players that made it to the university level or at the pro level versus other talented players that could have but didn't? What was, from a, I guess, circumstantial issues aside, but what was something that as an individual you felt you could control and you did better than others that didn't end up making it?
I think knowing, like, I played against some great players, right, in university. Um, you could just tell the difference, the skill level. Like, you can tell their work ethic, their attitude. Because, like I said, I've known some great athletes, but didn't have it mentally.
Mm.
Like, they just couldn't cut it mentally, right? And that's key, right? If you're trying to make a pro team and you're traveling to another country, if you're not mentally strong, right? Going to another country, playing with all these fans. There's no guarantee contract, so like you're always on. Like, if you play bad, you're out. Like there's so many guys. So, and that's what I found. Like, these players I know, even guys. There's certain guys that I know that could be in the NBA. They should be in the NBA, but mentally they didn't have that. Like, a couple guys I know who are like 6'11", 7 feet. If you're that tall, you should be in the NBA. Like, right. But doesn't matter how tall you are. They didn't have that work ethic, right? Didn't have that commitment. That's what it comes down to, and it happens to a lot of people. Who I know that we, even to this day, we talk about certain guys, some basketball guys. He should be in the NBA, or he should have made the NBA, but but now you see basketball Canada, what's going on. A lot of kids, it's different now.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of opportunities for these kids, right? It's good to see how Canada app, right?
For sure. The last question in this section, part of us doing this is to kind of show people that how to overcome, bad situations, bad performances, and things along those lines. Hear from the pros of how they handled their worst situations. So I guess, can you share, maybe a bad sporting experience that you had or a performance that you had and what you learned from it and how you bounced back?
Oh yeah, I got a few. All right. Okay, let me see. One, I think kind of shaped me was I was always like one of the best on the team, right? Even with soccer, grade 9, junior, we won, junior championships, grade 10, 11. It wasn't until like grade 11, grade 12, I was trying out for the junior national team, right? So the coach on the team, the junior national team, it was like first year university, right? Or just coming into university, that age group. So the coach was coaching another team called Laurentian, right? So he took 3 of his players, right? So Laurentian and Mac were rivals, right?
Right.
And he cut me. Even though I had, like, they kept stats of during tryouts of like points, assists, I was on top, right? He cut me because I played at Mac, and he kept 3 of his players. So from then I was mad, right? And I knew every time we played them, I was going to go off on them, right? So just having that mental ability to like just turn it on, right, kind of shaped me. Like, it motivated me, right? When people tell you, like, you're not going to make it, why are you going overseas? Like, they're going to, I heard that, like, it's way over there. You're not good enough. But for me, starting at a young age, I was able to take that in and kind of make that work for me and make myself stronger. Like I said, mentally, right? So in that situation, when we're playing, I'm very calm. I'm able to handle my emotions, right? Took time and play to the level and get to where I want to be, right? If I have a bad game, okay, great. That's fine. I make sure next game I'm on. I know I'll get better. I'll have a great game. I was able to do that from my experiences.
Yeah, it's so interesting because I think, what you experienced there, and this is me speaking from personal experience, and I used to play cricket competitively, but from my experience, a similar situation happened where I felt like somebody who didn't deserve their shot over me got that. I went the other way where I let it consume me so much that my performances started to suffer, but it seems like you were able to channel it in a way that actually had a positive impact on your performance, right? So was there, I think you kind of touched on it too, where during games you were very calm mentally, right? Like, at that point, you weren't thinking about all the external stuff. You were just worried about doing your job. And I think that took me a while to learn, where I kind of had to go through the steps of, I let it consume me, I let it affect my performances, and then I'd realize, okay, no, I need to, during the game, still be clear-headed, right? Not let revenge be the thing that drives me forward, right? So, but it's pretty awesome to hear how you went about it. Cool. I think Chris is now going to ask a few questions, and then we'll jump into rapid fire. I
got one question before we do the rapid fire, which is our one of our wrapping up questions. But so you've hit on this a lot, but do you have like a pro tip for an aspiring player?
A pro tip?
Yeah, like what?
So many. Let me see.
I know,
Feel free to list multiple.
We'll take pro tips. Yeah.
Like I said, one thing, like I kind of mentioned before, is, when you're training, what are you doing in your training? Like, what are you doing to improve? Like I said, there's always somebody out there out training you.
Yeah.
Right. So you got to get that mentally. Okay, are you really putting the time in? Like, you're saying you're working out, but what are you working out? And it doesn't hurt to ask for help. That's one thing, right? Yeah. Looking at players, like I remember I was confident enough to see players that, are playing pro now before I would ask them questions, right? Like, I remember asking like even Steve Nash, right? Like I was up there trying to see how you work on his spin move, right? Just asking questions, asking coaches, like, what can I do to improve? Right. Watch film. So not being afraid to ask for help.
Yeah. Right.
To get yourself better, right? To improve on your body or your skill. That's key. That's one key, I think. And then once you play, if you play university, right? Working out, if you get a chance to play pro now, having that mentality that, I'm going down there to kill it. Right, because once you go down there, they want to see you score.
Yeah,
they're investing money on you to produce.
Right.
So you get the mentality like, I want to go down there and show them like I can score, right, and do everything I can do to keep my contract to stay there. Right. Yeah. So that's one thing. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, I think that pro tip you were saying about don't be afraid to ask questions like almost applies to like
life. Yeah.
Everything you do, right? Just don't be afraid to ask. Yeah, that's awesome.
You're afraid, yeah, definitely.
Okay, I got a couple rapid fire questions for you. No wrong answers. So, do you have well, you said this already, but I'm going to ask you again. Favorite basketball player?
It was Kobe.
Okay, Kobe.
Kobe.
Do you have a favorite sneaker?
Kobe.
Do you have a
phenom
go-to pregame song? I mean, you kind of mentioned you like listen to like hip hop or something beforehand.
Yeah, yep. AZ back then, Wu-Tang, hardcore,
Yeah, everything gets you pumped. Yeah.
Pumped up, yeah.
Yeah. You have a favorite NBA jersey?
I had a Kobe George jersey. Yeah.
Kobe jersey?
Even Johnson jersey, sorry. When I was younger, it was Magic Johnson.
Yeah, okay. And then do you have a favorite drill?
Yeah, my game people watch me play was creating space, step backs. So I run a step back series, even I train players, like how to create space to get your shot off. So step back series, creating space off the dribble. Yeah.
Awesome. And then least favorite drill?
Line sprints.
Okay, yeah. For sure.
Throughout my career, get in a line, run. No, I hate those.
Yeah. Awesome.
I mean, honestly, there's probably so many more questions that I could ask you, but I know in the interest of time and taking too much of your time, I won't. Like the whole 2002 World Championships, I was new to Canada when that was going on, and seeing Canada progress through those levels, under Jay Triano, that was amazing to see. So, I have so many questions about that alone that I could ask. But we'll save that for maybe a part 2 of this conversation. So thank you so much, Titus, for taking the time to chat with us. It was great to hear about your journey, and I think there's amazing advice here for young basketball players and young athletes in general about how to go about, building a professional career, or even, aspiring to high level, playing the sport that they love at a high level. So yeah, thank you so much.